He's the tech support.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Are you going first or am I?
Your preference.
I don't care.
I'll go first.
You ask me questions or
your preference.
I don't care.
Okay. I'll go first.
You ask me questions or oh no.
Okay. All right, I turned down the sound so we won't have that. Anyway, hello, Stephanie.
Hi.
Hi. This is Stephanie McNairy. She is one of my greatest, oldest friends, a contributor to Bowerbird as our local LA insider who helped with Bowerbird tours back in the day when we took groups to Los Angeles, and also just a brilliant researcher and wonderful person to go to the museum with. So thanks, Steph, for coming.
We go way back. We've been to Europe together as undergrads. We've done our graduate work together. We've shared hotel rooms in Las Vegas.
Yes.
We go way back.
I know. Lots of good museum stamina between the two of us.
Oh yeah. I don't think anyone can outlast us. We joke. We have the best museum stamina of anyone we know.
We're like, where's everybody going? What? Lunch? No. Well, I'm super excited. We're trying out this mystery object. It's for fun and to be lighthearted, but also it's my way to try and help empower anyone who sees this to try and make meaning out of any object that you encounter. So we will take turns. I promise I haven't looked at Stephanie's, nor has she seen mine, our objects of choice. But what we'll try to do is kind of observe what object we're looking at and make some observations there, pull together whatever context we may have and make it meaningful for ourselves. So, and then after I kind of do my best, maybe Stephanie, you can clue me in and then we'll swap. Does that sound all right?
Sounds awesome.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, so here's our official mystery object PowerPoint, and I'll go first. Okay, Stephanie. Wow. So if I were to encounter this in the museum, I would think it looks like it's made from mud, clay, some type of material that you can imprint. And you gave me a nice detail. So let's look at that. Okay. So you can definitely see someone's been like imprinting here with maybe a reed or some kind of stylus and poked holes. This is definitely like, I mean, I've done this with Play-Doh. Take the back of a pencil and just make holes like that. They've made some lines to make a grid. The thing that's so interesting about this is like the shape is so bizarre. I wonder how intentional the shape is, or if some of it's been broken off. It looks like maybe they've added some clay here to make that shape that looks like an upside down L. And that seems to also have indentations in it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any sense of scale on this?
Yeah, so this is about 5.5 inches by 3.5 inches.
Okay. So that might be handheld.
Exactly.
Okay. I mean, the shape, I don't know. Like, is it? Okay, so the context I would maybe associate with this is, as far as I can tell, these little indentations are cuneiform.
You're right.
The first written script, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And that was developed in the ancient Near East, like
Yep.
Fertile Crescent
Ancient
area.
Mesopotamia, yes.
Okay. And I mean, it's so weird. But
All
I
right,
would,
you want me to tell you about it?
yes, tell us, what
Okay.
is this thing?
So you're right, it's made out of clay. Go to the bigger one. Yeah, so it's made out of clay, and you're right with the cuneiform. That is cuneiform script in there. And the shape is very intentional. So this is a model, a teaching model of a sheep's liver. And the cuneiform was instruction. So in ancient Mesopotamia, so this dates to about maybe 1900 to 1600 BC. The written script has been around for a couple of thousand years by this point and has developed. And so there are very highly revered priests who would sacrifice the sheep on behalf of the king. And then they would examine the sheep's liver and lungs for clues from the gods. And so this model was to teach those priests how to interpret the clues from the gods on the liver. So if there was a blemish in one of those grids, you were right, the grids are very intentional too. So if when you removed the liver from the sacrificed sheep and there was a blemish on this particular quadrant of the liver, then you went and this cuneiform explains what that means, what that sign from the gods is, and what future event it might be alluding to. And then there was some magic that the priest could participate in to hopefully prevent that either bad omen or help the good thing that was happening. It's called the liver omen. And so this was the teaching instrument, the teaching tool for the priests. The priests are called the Barus, I think, right? Baru?
Is this Sumeria?
That's the name. And he is a very revered, highly revered. The king wouldn't make any decisions without the Baru interpreting through these sacrifices if he should go to war, if he should build the temple, who he should hire in his temple, all of these things. So this was a way for the ancient Mesopotamians to know the will of the gods through whatever blemishes they found on the sheep's liver.
Wow.
And we can also talk about, I mean, if you want to talk about context here, the fun thing is, this is that everyone thinks the Egyptians did everything first. Well, actually the Mesopotamians they wrote first. Everyone thinks Egyptians wrote first. No, the ancient Mesopotamians developed cuneiform, like you said, 100 or 200 years before the earliest Egyptian script that we have. And then they're using clay because they are farming in this fertile land between the two rivers that run through Iraq, the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. And so as those rivers flood and recede, that leaves nutrients, and that's where we get the first cities that develop in the world, which are between those two rivers in Iraq. And then it leaves behind this very malleable clay that in about 3500 BC is when the ancient people first start imprinting onto the clay and creating a symbolic written language that evolves into cuneiform, which is sounds combined. So cuneiform isn't just one language written, it's a written language that can be used for multiple spoken languages.
Oh, I see.
Just
so
like
it's
our
more
alphabet,
describing the script rather than.
So cuneiform, like if we're writing a word in French or English, we're using the same symbols, right? Cuneiform are the symbols used for different languages, written sounds.
Oh, that's fascinating.
So yeah, sheep's liver. And then we go into museology and like, where does this get displayed in the museum, right? Is it an archaeological object? Is it an art object? Like, and a lot of these, so this was dug up in like 1889. The Great British Museum was sending out their explorers and their archaeologists to dig through the ancient ruins there and bringing them back and preserving them in the British Museum. And so the British Museum branded a lot of these things as kind of archaeological artifacts. And so they have old marks, old numbers on them, which kind of distracts maybe from the object itself. But, they're displayed in art museums now, and I think it is an artful object. There was a lot of artistry here, and cuneiform itself becomes really artistic. There's very beautiful scribes that are using reeds, like you said, from the river, the same river where they're pulling the clay. They're cutting the reeds from the river and using that as their stylus to imprint into the clay.
That is fascinating. So this object is at the British Museum?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Is it on view, do you think?
Last I checked, it did say it was, because it is, there are a couple other liver models around I found, but this one has the best preserved liver shape. I'm not too, I mean, I looked up liver to compare, but you know, you just see these slabs of meat.
Wow. Your research skills are still on point, Steph.
I'm like, what does a sheep's liver really look like? But there were a lot of great images online. I mean, a few, but this would be very accurate, I think. So
wow.
Yeah.
That I've never seen anything like that.
It was crazy. I've been reading a lot about the Mesopotamians lately. I've seen lots of clay tablets, but this one I thought was the coolest. So
Oh, very cool. Well, thank you for letting me take a stab and actually really teaching me so much about this. This is cool. Okay, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, here it is.
Oh dear. Okay, so I'm seeing a dragon type head, some nice detail carved. I assume this is wood. I like the stones that are embedded there. It looks kind of like Viking-ish. Maybe a musical instrument, like you could blow through one end and then out the dragon's mouth might come your attempt at some music. Is it, I mean, at first I would think it's a horn, but it could be decorative too. Like I'm thinking, you know, royal decoration, or maybe it's a dog, I guess, or maybe not quite a dragon. Yeah. Yeah, the detail work is beautiful. Fine carving, and the stones. I love the stones. So I don't know.
This is pretty obscure.
Okay. So if we're like, are we like 900 to 1000 AD or later?
Let me get the exact date. Hold up.
You don't, I mean, you can.
19th century, actually.
Wow, the resurgence of the interest in.
I know.
Is this okay? Tell me more. Is it William Morris's love of I don't know what?
I mean, so this is really unfair because this I don't know. I didn't know much about until I did my own little research journey. The medium is human thigh bone.
We were on the same wavelength, Becca.
Yeah, exactly.
Without knowing it. We were into weird body parts used as art.
I guess when we say wild art, we're thinking, we want like sacrifice.
Okay, so this is human bone?
Human thigh bone.
Okay.
You were correct. It is a dragon face.
Okay.
And made in Tibet in the 19th century, but they're actually, this is housed at the Met. There are 4 others. It is called my pronunciation is off. I know already. A recongling.
Okay.
And it is a horn that is made to ward off epidemic.
Cool.
Yes, and it is an instrument that is played. And the bone for which it is taken, according to the research I've done, all that I could find is this is the thigh bone of the head priest of the monastery.
Oh, wow.
And
hopefully
so that
after he had died from something else.
No explanation.
Okay. All right.
My sources are silent after that.
We don't know when he died, before or after this thing was
I'm
carved.
hoping it is after, but I don't know. I have no idea. And of course, there are certain stones that have certain healing properties that are thought to assist.
Okay.
And the dragon has its own kind of iconography that associates with disease and conquering disease. But I think this is like a doctoral dissertation waiting to happen for someone.
Oh, yeah. Well, if the Met's got 4 of them, I mean,
right?
Some great compare contrast there. Yeah.
Yes.
Do they all look similar? They all have a dragon head?
I don't know. I didn't see the others. They didn't have them images of them, but they did have, if I can play the actual audio
of the sound of it being played.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah. And I feel like as a generation that has lived through pandemic, you know, we can understand that. Can you hear that? Here, let me try again. Sorry. All right. Got this. Sorry, one more try. Here we go.
Sounds like a great horn in my high school band concert, you know?
Yeah, let's have some of those in the marching band.
Yeah. Excellent. Excellent
Yes.
sound from the human bone. Vibration there.
You must have to have some great air control, wonderful lip embouchure.
Yeah.
Anyway, oh, Steph, that was fun. Thank
Awesome.
you for bringing that really cool object. It just
Thanks.
makes me want to learn more about it. So thanks.
Thanks for inviting me, and take care of your livers
Yes. And thigh bones.
and thighs. Yeah.
All right. Bye,
Okay.
everybody.